Hello students, I am Rakesh Kumar Jha. Today I will teach bio and the chapter will be the circulatory system. If we have to talk about the circulatory system, the first thing that what is circulation? Circulation is actually what the transportation. Transportation of blood through different organs. So you have observed that a car or a bike, when it moving on the road, you have observed that how it's work. It's need three things. The first one, that is the engine. Second thing, the fuel. And third thing, that is what the tube. So the fuel is needed for running any car or bikes. So that this fuel passes through the tubes and it reaches to the engines, and that converted into the energy form. Now, if we have to talk about the same way, the circulatory system also have needed the three things. The first one, that is the main engine, that is the heart. Second thing, the blood vessels, and third thing, that is what the blood is actually acts as a fuel which carry the nutrients, waste products, gases and other things. Now, so these all entire thing comprises and forms what the circulatory system. So we can define it as, if we have to talk about what is circulatory system. So circulatory system is actually what? Circulatory system is a system which actually composed of the heart, blood vessels and the blood. So the circulatory system is actually composed of three things. The first one, that is what the blood. What is blood? Blood is a fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue. Blood is a fluid connective tissue which actually slightly alkaline in nature, whose pH value is about to 7.4 to 7.5. Now along with that, the blood is actually composed of the first one, that what we can say the plasma. Plasma is about to 50 to 55% of total blood. Second thing, and that is what the formed element or the blood cells. Formed element or blood cells. Now if we have to talk about the formed element or the blood cells, they are of three types. That is what the RBCs, WBCs and the platelets. So these three things are there. Now if we have to talk, the blood may be the light in color as well as the dark in color. So let's try to understand one by one about the blood. and its component. If we have to talk about the components of the blood, that was, I already told you, that the plasma as well as the formed element or the blood cells. So the first one that I said you about, that the red blood cells, red blood cells. If we have to talk about the red blood cells, due to the presence of hemoglobin, its color the red. Now if we have to talk about they may have the certain lifespan. Same way, though red blood cells is actually composed of or made by the hemoglobin, complex form of the hemoglobin, so it is also known as what, the erythrocytes, and the entire lifespan is about to 120 days. So now the function of the blood is red blood cells, that it transport oxygen and carbon dioxide to and from the body. Second thing, and if we have to talk about the red blood cells, the total quantity is about to 4.5 to 5.5 millions in per cubic millimeter, though it vary according to gender in male and as well as the female. Now if we have to talk about the white blood cells, if we have to talk about the white blood cells, so white blood cells is actually what? White blood cells. It is actually the bodyguard of our body. White blood cells is actually the body guard of our body. So each and everything may have the lifespan. So it protects our body from the different types of microorganisms as well as the foreign body particles. It protects us from foreign body particles. Second thing, if we have to talk about the white blood cells, though we already know that it protects our body, it is the bodyguard of the body. So if we have to talk about the quantity, it is about 6,000 to 10,000. Now, though the quantity may vary, so according to that, the white blood cells is also categorized. How they are categorized? If we have to talk that, the white blood cells are categorized in two types. The first one, that is what, the granulocytes. White blood cells is categorized into granulocytes. And second one, that is what, the granulocytes. Now what is granulocytes? We have to talk about the granulocytes. Granulocytes are actually what? the granules which is present inside the cell of the, that is known as the granulocyte. Second one, agranulocytes. The granules are absent in the cytoplasm of the cell or of the WBC cell, that is known as the agranulocytes. Granulocytes are also divided, they are categorized into lymphocytes, and second one, that is what we can say, the monocytes. Again, the same way that the agranulocytes are also divided, they are divided into eosinophil. Second one, the basophil, neutrophil. So these all are the different types of white blood cells. They have only one function, and that is what basically to protect our body from the different types of the foreign body particles as well as the microorganisms. Second thing, and that is what the blood vessels. So we will try to understand about the blood vessels. What is blood vessels? Blood vessels are actually what? Tube-like structure. Blood vessels are actually what? They are the tube-like structure. They are the tube-like structure. They are, blood vessels are actually what? The tube-like structure. If we have to talk about the blood vessels, they are of three types. The first one, that what we can say, artery. Artery are the what? Artery are the tube-like structure or the vessels which carries blood away from the heart. If we have to talk about the artery, artery may have the thick wall. It have the thick wall, narrow lumen with arteries. The flow of the blood is very fast. Flow of blood is fast with the artery. Second one, that what we can say about, that is the vein. If we have to talk about, there are some exceptions, we will discuss later in the differences. Veins are the vessels which carries blood to the heart. They may have the wider lumen with wider lumen. What is lumen? Lumen is actually what? The diameter. Let's suppose if this is the blood vessels, what happens in this side, this hollow space is actually known as the lumen of the blood vessels. So that may have, the veins have the wider lumens, and the flow of blood is actually flow of blood is lower side or the slower side. Now the another one, that is what the third is, the capillaries. If we have to talk about the capillaries, what is capillary? If we have to talk about the capillaries, capillaries are the fine branches or the network of the fine vessels. Branches of the artery and vein. That is what the capillaries actually is. Now the difference, what is difference between with the vein and the arteries? So let's try to understand about that. The difference between the vein and the arteries. The first, as I already told you about that, the vein is actually what? The veins are the vessels which actually carry the blood away from the heart. Whereas if we have to talk about the arteries, arteries are the vessels which carry blood away. There are some exceptions, so we will try to understand both one by one. The first one, that what we can say, artery. Artery, it carry blood away. Carries blood away from the heart. It actually carry pure blood or the oxidized blood. It carries oxidized blood. There are some exceptions, so that's again the same way the exceptions are there. All the artery carry actually the pure blood, whereas the pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated or the impure blood. Whatever the total blood is, about of that, the 15% of that actually carried by the arteries. Whereas if we have to talk about the vein, veins are the vessels which carry the blood toward the heart. That means वो blood को हार्ट तक लेके आता है. It carries blood to the heart. Second thing, if we have to talk about the veins, walls are thinner. They have thinner wall, and the lumen of veins are actually the wider one. With wider lumen. The blood flow in the veins is actually in the lower side. And another thing, if we have to talk about that, the 60% of the 64% of the total blood is actually carried out by the veins. Now the next thing, that is what about the heart. What is heart? तो अभी तक हम लोगों ने पढ़ा था ब्लड वेसल्स के बारे में. वी हैव ऑलरेडी लर्नड अबाउट the blood vessels as well as the blood. Now we will understand about the heart, which is what the most important organ. If we have to talk about the heart is actually what it's looks like closing fist, मतलब ये बंद मुट्ठी की तरह बिल्कुल ऐसा दिखता है हमारा हार्ट. अगर टोटल वेट की अगर बात करें, द वेट इज अप्रोक्सीमेट 300 to 340 grams. ये टोटल हार्ट का वेट होता है. अगर इफ वी हैव टू डिफाइन व्हाट इज हार्ट इज अ मस्कुलर ऑर्गन. इट इज एक्चुअली व्हाट इट इज a muscular organ which pumps the blood. Heart is a great pumping organ which pumps the blood. If we have to talk about the heart is actually what divided. How they are divided? They are divided into two parts. The first one, that what we can say atrium or auricle, and second one ventricle. So according to that, the mammalian heart may have the 4 completely developed chamber. So we all are mammal, हम लोग सारे लोग mammals हैं. तो mammals का heart जो होता है उसमें 4 chamber होते हैं, completely developed 4 chamber. So they all are actually what divided into the auricle or the atrium as well as the ventricle. Auricle या atrium जो है वो 2 होते हैं. पहला होता है left atrium और दूसरा होता है that is what the right atrium. The same way the ventricle is also left ventricles and the right ventricles. चलो अब समझते हैं. चलिए अब हम लोग समझते हैं प्रोसेस ऑफ सर्कुलेशन के बारे में. तो अब प्रोसेस ऑफ सर्कुलेशन क्या होता है, जहाँ तक बात करते हैं तो ह्यूमन हार्ट में जो मैमल होता है, मैमल में डबल सर्कुलेशन का प्रोसेस कैरी ऑन होता है. What is that double circulation? If we have to talk about the double circulation is actually, it is a process in which the blood passes through the heart twice. मतलब जो blood जो है वो 2 बार पास करता है हार्ट से. So we can say that in the mammalian heart, the double circulation process may take place. Now what is double circulation? Here I have written double circulation. So what is double circulation? So let's try to understand about that. What is double circulation. Actually, double circulation is a process, once again I am repeating, double circulation is a process in which the blood passes through the heart twice. So here again I am writing, it is a process in which blood passes through the हार्ट ट्वाइस, मतलब ब्लड जो है हार्ट में, हार्ट के थ्रू 2 बार पास करता है या सर्कुलेट करता है. दैट इज व्हाट द डबल सर्कुलेशन इज. तो 2 सर्कुलेशन कौन कौन सा होता है? व्हाट आर द 2 types of circulation? The first circulation in this process which is being carried out, double circulation process में जो 2 प्रोसेस होते हैं सर्कुलेशन का, जिसके थ्रू जो ब्लड है वो 2 बार पास करता है हार्ट के थ्रू, और द ब्लड passes through the heart twice. The first process is actually what we can say pulmonary circulation, and second one the systemic सर्कुलेशन. पल्मोनरी सर्कुलेशन क्या होता है? पल्मोनरी सर्कुलेशन एक्चुअली एक ऐसा प्रोसेस होता है जिसमें जो ब्लड जो है वो राइट वेंट्रिकल से लंग्स होते हुए लेफ्ट ऑरिकल तक पहुंचता है. तो एक बार इसको भी हम डिफाइन कर देते हैं, फिर से एक बार हम इसको पहले रिपीट कर दें कि पल्मोनरी सर्कुलेशन क्या होता है. इट इज़ अ प्रोसेस इन विच ब्लड पासेस फ्रॉम द लेफ्ट वेंट्रिकल थ्रू द लंग्स into the left auricle. That is known as the pulmonary circulation. So let's try to understand about the entire process of the circulation. तो जैसा कि हमने आपको बोला कि डबल सर्कुलेशन में जो है वो ब्लड 2 बार पास करता है. तो चलिए हम इसको एक डायग्राम, डबल सर्कुलेशन के डायग्राम की मदद से समझते हैं. What is that? The process of the double circulation. तो डबल सर्कुलेशन में क्या होता है कि सबसे पहला चीज़ जो ब्लड है, ब्लड मेन वेन जो होता है वेना कावा, तो इसके 2 हिस्से होते हैं. ये जो मेन वेन है, इस मेन वेन के 2 हिस्से होते हैं, सुपीरियर वेना कावा सुपीरियर वेना कावा और इन्फेरियर वेना कावा. तो सुपीरियर वेना कावा इज एक्चुअली कैरिंग द ब्लड फ्रॉम द अपर पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी, वेयर एज इन्फीरियर वेना कावा फ्रॉम द डाउनवर्ड पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी, बॉडी के नीचे से. तो दैट पोर द ब्लड इनटू इन द मेन वेन, दैट इज द वेना कावा. ये दोनों इम्प्योर ब्लड कैरी करते हैं एंड दैट पोर इनटू द राइट एट्रियम और ऑरिकल, एट्रियम और ऑरिकल. अब यहाँ से ब्लड जो है, ठीक है, राइट वेंट्रिकल के थ्रू लंग्स से पहुंचता है. मतलब राइट वेंट्रिकल से कहाँ पहुंचता है? तो लंग्स में. किसके थ्रू जाता है? दैट पासेस बाय द हेल्प ऑफ वन ऑफ द वेन विच इज अटैच, सॉरी, वन ऑफ द आर्टरी विच इज अटैच विद दिस वेंट्रिकल, एंड दैट इज व्हाट द पल्मोनरी आर्टरी. पल्मोनरी आर्टरी के थ्रू कहाँ पहुँचता है? लंग्स में. और लंग्स से फिर that reaches into the left auricle or the atrium में पहुंचता है। तो ये जो प्रोसेस है यहाँ से, इट इज़ अ प्रोसेस। पल्मोनरी सर्कुलेशन क्या था? पल्मो मीन्स होता है एक्चुअली द लंग्स, पल्मो मीन्स होता है लंग्स, रिलेटेड टू लंग्स। सो द ब्लड पासेज, इट इज़ अ प्रोसेस इन विच the blood passes through the lungs from right ventricle to the left auricle. This is actually known as the pulmonary circulation, and after that it reaches into the right left auricle, left ventricle. It reaches into the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle it reaches into the body parts. अब इसके बाद जो है जो ब्लड है वो अलग अलग हिस्से में पहुंचता है। फॉर एग्जांपल द लीवर और द किडनी, वेयर द ब्लड इज एक्चुअली